Hey, this is Jon Johnson with a quick video for you all. What is a 2-1 buy down? This is one of the most important things or one of the most marketed things that's going out right now. All real estate agents are talking about it. Mortgage originators are talking about it. I can't go a day or two without having someone call me, text me, ask me, what is a 2-1 buy down? So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know a quick breakdown of what this is. By the way, this presentation was inspired by Barry Habib. Almost all information in here was from him in some presentations that he did. So I'll give him all the credit. He's a smart guy. I'm just a shy guy trying to preach his message to the masses. All right, so what is a 2-1 buy down? This is where a seller gives credit to a buyer to lower the first 2 years of the mortgage. For example, a buyer is initially receiving a 7% rate over 30 years. The seller can give $10,000 to the buyer. Now, normally this $10,000 goes towards having a lower cash to close for a buyer. So that buyer normally is supposed to close with $20,000. Seller gets a $10,000 credit. Now their cash to close is $10,000. But that $10,000 can be moved around to different places in the loan. For example, in this situation with a 2-1 buy down, the $10,000 would allow, instead of having a 7% rate, it'd be 5% the first year, 6% the second year, and then 7% the remaining 28 years. So this is not a product for everyone, but it is a product that can potentially help out some. And definitely, if you're a seller and you have your home's not really moving, or a buyer is ready to pull out because monthly payments have gone up for whatever reason, this is a product that could potentially be able to help them out with their monthly payments. All right. So is a 2-1 buy down worth it? Here is some information breaking down all the ways that seller credit could be used. So let's say, for example, there's a 400K purchase price, 5% down, getting $10,000 seller credit. So as you can see, in the first little column, the first row, it's a $0 credit. The next row is going to be a $10,000 towards the cash to close. The next one's going to be $10,000 towards low purchase price. Third is $10,000 towards the normal rate buy down. And then the last one is $10,000 towards a 2-1 buy down. So as you can see, if the seller decides to come off of $10,000, there's about 4 different ways that $10,000 could be used by the buyer. In the first example, where the seller is given zero credit, purchase price is about 400K, cash to close, let's say with 5% down, about 33K total. Rate 7%, payment roughly 3,300, and they're not saving anything on monthly payment because there's no credit or anything else going towards the loan. 10K towards the cash to close. Pretty much everything's going to stay the same, except for the cash to close is going to go down from roughly 33K to about 23K. Now, here's where we're going to start seeing some differences in the monthly payments. So the first one's going to be 10K towards a lower price. So instead of a $400,000 purchase price, it's a $390,000 purchase price. This is one going to give you the least amount of benefits when it comes to monthly payments and things on the front end. Your cash to close is not going to go down that much either. It may go down $1,000 by having a 10K drop in purchase price. Of course, the rate's going to stay the same, and you may save like 50 bucks a month on monthly payments, which ends up being about $1,200 over the course of 2 years. The next one is 10K towards a normal rate buy down. So instead of a 7% rate, this buyer is now going to be getting a 6% rate over the 30-year loan. Of course, the cash to close is going to stay the same. But as you can see, that monthly payment has now dropped some. It's now at $30.50 a month, which is roughly a $250 a month savings. This is the one that if a buyer is trying to stay in a home for, they're trying to keep the same mortgage for 10, 20, 30 years, this is going to be the option that's going to have the best benefits overall. So it's going to give them $250 a month savings and monthly payment, and then it's going to end up giving them roughly $6,000 over the first 2 years in savings. And now the 2-1 buy down is going to give you some benefits. It's not going to be better than that 10K towards a normal rate buy down, but it will give them very great returns for the first 2 years. So the first year is going to be 5%, second year 6% rate, and then the next 28 years is going to be a 7% rate. And as you can see, that payment for the first 2 years is going to be astronomically lower than it would have been if that buyer was to get a mortgage without getting a rate buy down. It goes down to, I believe it's about $2,800 a month. So you're saving about $500 a month in monthly payments, and over the course of 2 years, that comes out to about $12,000. So should a buyer actually do this? As you can see right here, This is kind of like the breakdown on, a buyer's timeline for keeping a loan, um, and what should they do. So if they're only planning to keep that loan for the next year, year and a half, and they're pretty savvy and they don't mind refinancing in a year and a half because they think the actual uh, rates are going to be lower, then a 2-1 buy down is going to be a great option for them, which uh, one of my favorite experts, Barry B, who this whole thing is inspired by, he is stating that he's expecting for rates to hopefully come down a percentage point or two within the next 12 to 24 months. So if a buyer wants to be in that little, if a buyer wants to be savvy, if a buyer doesn't mind trying to see if they can be able to refinance within a year or two, that 2-1 buy down is going to save them a lot. The price break, the one in the middle, that's if they are actually putting money towards having a lower price. So a price break is going to be the 2-1 buy down after about a year and a half, 2 years. And then a permanent buy down, that's where you go from that 7% for 30 years to 6% for 30 years. That's going to be the best option from going on about year three or forward. Now, this breakdown is going to be slightly different per loan amount, per buyer, per interest rate, etc. But overall, this is the way it breaks down a majority of the time. If a buyer is trying to uh, only have that loan for a year or two, 2-1 buy down is a great option. They're only thinking maybe for a couple of years, maybe 2, 3, 4 years, and maybe having a lower purchase price. I don't really recommend that too many times. It's normally just safer to go with that permanent buy down. So going from 7% to 6% for someone who just wants a safe and secure loan. So overall, this is the way a 2-1 buy down works. Any questions, reach out to me. I'll be happy to assist.